So today we filmed a chest workout. This is actually Evan and mine's first time working out together. We started with a flat barbell bench press. I usually like to start off with a compound movement, heavy compound movement. Evan, you agree, right?
Me too.
Yeah, high five for that. Awkward high five. So yeah, we started with a flat barbell bench press. Did a couple heavy sets. The first thing that goes is my pressing string.
Yeah, but dude, you can't feel bad. I mean, you get off that bench, you see yourself in the mirror, and you know, your everything is busting out of everywhere, and really that is the goal, right? I mean, at some point, okay, you get on the bench or whatever you do, you're really only impressing.
Right. I mean,
dudes, you know,
on stage, no one cares.
No one cares. I mean, the goal in bodybuilding is to have the look. So whether you get the look with 5 reps or you get the look with 20 reps, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
So no, you can't feel bad about that.
Yeah. And you know, like we were talking about earlier too, it also dictates like how you do the actual repetitions. So you can kind of slow it down, focus more on the squeeze and the contraction, and that would probably lessen the weight of the repetitions that you would actually do. Or you could pile some weight on there and just, you know, see how rep out.
Generally speaking, when I bench, I like to just let it rip. There will be other movements where I will slow it down, be a little bit more intent or more deliberate in my execution. But for me, and this is coming from someone who had a hard time developing this chest, believe it or not, you know, just tucking my scapula and my shoulder blades and just boom, boom, boom. Believe it or not, that's how I ended up getting the best. I felt like
just grip it and rip it.
Grip it and rip it.
Yeah.
Because I felt like a lot of, at least for me, when I would go through a longer range of motion, it just became tricep and shoulder city.
Yeah.
But everybody's different. Everybody's different. I mean, I see your chest developing, so I'm not going to argue with Shawn.
And then we moved into an incline dumbbell bench press. Evan, you stayed pretty much the same way for a couple sets, right?
Yeah, I mean,
is there a reason for that? Or?
I mean, I usually try to gauge, like, I don't want to go in and pick up like a lighter dumbbell and then just kind of just take more wind out of my sails with it. I figured, okay, this is probably what I've got enough juice for. I'm just gonna pick this up and just go with it. And I think I only got maybe 12 reps with it. So I figured, okay, that's about right. I'm just gonna stick with this week.
So when you train, are you training for a particular feeling? Are you trying to I don't know, push a certain load?
I mean, obviously, you know, I'm always trying to maintain a viable amount of mind-muscle connection. That said, my goal is always the maximum amount of weight for the maximum amount of reps. So, like, just from my own experience, like, you know how like you, if you're squatting, and you could squat 4 plates for 8. If you could get to the point where you're squatting 4 plates for 15, you know that is going to produce some really good hypertrophy.
You're gonna have a bigger muscle.
Well, you got bigger muscle.
Someone who's squatting 600 pounds for reps,
Good reps.
with good solid reps, you know, connecting with the muscle, is probably gonna have bigger quads than say somebody who's doing the same.
Because I feel like although it's important to push heavier weight, you know, in order to get your threshold up, you know, you're not going to just come to bench, say 315 or squat 405 for 20 reps. Yeah, you have to push it with heavier weight so that 405 begins to feel lighter to you and you can push it for more weight. That said, I feel like when people say, well, what's more important, heavy weight or high reps? It's like the answer is both. You want heavy weight for high reps. Because if you get under the bar to bench press, and you could bench 4 plates for 5 reps, I don't feel like that doesn't really guarantee much. you might just be a dude who's strong. But if you're gonna bench press 405 for 12, chances are you're probably gonna have good upper body development.
Right.
You're gonna be fucking big.
People are always looking for kind of, I guess, the ideal rep range. And I don't think there really is an ideal rep range, but I think anywhere between, I would say, 8 and 20 would be,
right.
in my experience, is best for hypertrophy.
I agree. You know, if you even, people a lot of times will shy away from that higher rep range, right? 15 to 20.
Right.
But a lot of people, I think they're under the impression if they could get 20 reps or something, it's too light, but they don't realize you have to die on rep 20. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting 20, like you're getting like 16, and then it's a all-out battle to get 20.
Yeah.
And I think if you're doing that, you're probably gonna get a good hypertrophy result.
Yeah, exactly. Like for like with squats, you know, 4 or 5 plates per side. If you get 20 reps, you're gonna be buried.
You're gonna be buried, man. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the feeling of doing that is much greater than putting on
8 or 7, 6.
1,000%. I feel like it elicits a much greater response in your body.
But going back to what you said,
you still need to push it.
You still need to push the lower rep ranges sometimes in order to build
that high end.
In order to get the higher end reps. So we started off with 2 presses, and then we moved into a machine fly. I usually like to do more machine work towards the end of my training sessions, and probably focus a little bit more on contraction rather than just pushing weight.
Yeah, and I really like, especially like with say that machine, I like having you there because on like those last couple reps, there's only so much of just heaving it or muscling it you could do. But then if you have someone to step in at the end and say, okay, keep focusing on that contraction, I'm gonna bring you in for 3 more or whatever it is. Right. I think that's really beneficial.
Yeah, you can keep the mind-muscle connection on the chest, and like Evan was saying, you don't have to heave it and use other body parts and potentially injure yourself. So, that's another benefit of working out with somebody as well, is you can get the assisted reps in towards the end of the set. Chest development is one of the things that's been kind of came natural to me. So I don't want to say I can do anything and grow a chest, but
everybody has at least one of those body parts.
Yeah, for me it's chest and back. I have pretty loose form with those two, and I can end up growing. But legs for me is one thing I struggle with, and I really have to kind of slow everything down and concentrate on the contraction. I can't just pile weight on the leg press and rep it out, because that would give me.
You feel like when it's a muscle group you have a harder time connecting with, that slowing down the negative enables you to connect better?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And taking your time with warm-up sets as well.
Yes.
And really just, because some people try to rush through the warm-up sets or the feeder sets, whatever you want to call them, to get to their main set. But with legs in particular, which is something that I kind of struggle with, I try to slow everything down and just try to be in the moment and concentrate on the contraction and get a good pump going.
And then after flies, we finished off with dips, which it's probably something that's been ingrained in me. I don't know about you, but my first weight bench in my basement used to have, you could take the posts out and move them in, and they had like handles that came off it, so you could do dips off the back of the bench.
Yeah, cool.
So that became one of my staple exercises from the beginning. So even to this day, man, I love dips. So for chest, but also just for a total upper body.
Yeah, see, I usually do dips for triceps.
Dude, I do dips for chest, I do dips for shoulders, I do dips for triceps.
Yeah, and again with that's where form comes into play, with dips. So say if I'm trying to target chest, I lean forward a little bit more in order to target my lower pec. So when I do dips for triceps, I would usually just kind of lean back to try to keep my torso straight up and down, to eliminating pectoral involvement.
And if I'm trying to hit my shoulders, I'll go a lot slower on the negative, and I'll feel it in my delts.
I've never tried that. I'll have to try that. Yeah.
So I mean, that was, at least for me, a pretty well-rounded chest workout. A couple pressing movements, 1 fly. Sometimes, I'll do a 2nd fly movement, and then something like dips that kind of ties together my whole upper body, whether I'm doing dips or a push-up or something like that.
Yeah, usually about 4 or 5 exercises will comprise my whole chest workout. And you know, being my first time working out with Evan, it actually worked out pretty good. So we kind of agreed on a lot of things, so it went pretty smoothly.
All right, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. Hope if you were able to at least find one thing useful, or if nothing else, entertaining, then it was a success. Me and Shawn are gonna sign off, go get a bite to eat, and catch you guys next time.
See you guys.